Welcome to Mr. West class. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to take a fraction and turning it into simplest form. Let's take a look at this example. 72 over 140. 72 140ths. One of the tools that we can use over here on the right side of the screen is our divisibility sheet. And it tells us some hints on if a number is divisible by another number. So our job for 72 over 140, put it in simplest form. We need to figure out a number that both 72 and 140 can be evenly divided by. For instance, the number 140 ends in a 0, so 140 would be divisible by 10, but 72 would not be divisible by 10. So we can't use 10. We need to use a number that both the numerator and the denominator can both be divided by. Now, since they're both even numbers, we know that 2 is a factor. That means 72 can be divided by 2 and 140 can be divided by 2. So, to figure out 72 divided by 2, we can either do a regular division problem such as this, or we can just try to figure out half of 72. Now, here's a way that you can figure out half of just about any even number. Take 72 and break it down into two different numbers, like 60 plus 12. 60 plus 12 is 72. And then we can just take half of those two numbers. Half of 60 is 30, and half of 12 is 6. So half of 72 is 36. So we can put 36 right here. Of course, we could have also gotten 36 by doing this division problem right here. 72 divided by 2 is 36. We also have to figure out half of 140. Again, we could do 140 divided by 2. Or we can just take the number 140 and break it down like 100 plus 40. Half of 100 is 50. Half of 40 is 20. So half of 140 is 50 plus 20, which is 70. So we took 72 over 140 and we simplified it down to 36/70ths, but they're both even again, which means that we can divide them both by 2 again because 2 is a factor for all even numbers. Alright, so 36 over 70, they're both even. Let's cut them both in half. So again, we can take 36 and make it 30 plus 6. Half of 30 is 15, half of 6 is 3, so half of 36, 15 plus 3 would be 18. And then same thing with 70. Let's break it down. We could break 70 into 60 plus 10. Half of 60 is 30. Half of 10 is 5. So half of 70 is 35. Now at this point we have 18 35ths. And we need to think of any numbers that 18 and 35 can both be divided by. In this case, there are no numbers. The only number that 18 and 35 can be divided by is the number 1. And whenever that is the case, you know you're in simplest form. So we took our original fraction and we divided by 2 and got to 36/70ths. Divided by 2 again, we got to 18 over 35. Let's take a look at another example. This one is 75 135ths. So if we take a look over here on the right at our chart, we're going to notice that 75 and 135 can both be divided by 5 because 5 is a factor of all numbers that have a 5 or a 0 in the ones place. And notice that both of these have a 5 in the ones place, which means they can be divided by 5. So if we divide 75 by 5, we can do a division problem such as this. And we're going to find out that 75 divided by 5 is 15. So we can change the 75 to a 15. Now whatever we do upstairs, we have to do downstairs. So we need to take the 135 and divide that by 5 also. So 135 divided by 5. 5 going to 13 2 times. Bring down our ones place. 5 can go into 35 7 times. So we learned that 135 divided by 5 is 27. So we simplified it, however, it's still not in simplest form because 15 and 27 can both be divided by 3. Look at our rule for 3. The rule for 3 states that if you add together the digits in a number, if it's a multiple of 3, it's divisible by 3. So look at 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. And 6 is a multiple of 3, which means that 15 is divisible by 3. And 27, 2 plus 7 is 9, also a multiple of 3. So that means that that's also divisible by 3. So we can divide both of these by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And 27 divided by 3 is 9. At this point, the only numbers that 5 and 9 can both be divided by would be the number 1. Whenever that is the case, you know you are in simplest form. So 5/9 would be simplest form of 75 135ths.